Aloha and welcome to the Embodied Healing Self podcast with your host, Jen Mons. Each week, join me for soul-inspired, conscious conversations around embodied healing and awakening to your soul's purpose. Thank you for listening in. Aloha, friends, and welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me today. This week's topic we're going to dive into, I like to call empowered life mapping. So we get a little bit into setting intentions and setting goals, and really this helps to create the framework for the topics that will be coming throughout the year, every week on Wednesdays, about the many different pathways to healing and creating the life that we want to live. And since we are just fresh into the spring season and still into this new year, we are going to be very intentional with our time. And I invite you to really be present. I'm really going to dive in today to share with you what I know to be so effective in creating change in your life that has worked for me in my health and my relationships and my business and also with the clients that I serve. And will give you a new perspective on maybe why the resolutions you've been creating haven't been working, and also the steps to help you create goals that will work for you. To start, I'm going to invite you to consider in this moment, so maybe just taking a deep breath and closing your eyes for a moment if you're not driving. And just thinking about for a moment, what is it that you really want for yourself this year? And I'm going to invite you to really connect with the feeling of what it is that you want for yourself. And so just visualizing the way you want to feel, where you want to be, what you want to be doing, and also thinking about the people in your life that are going to be there with you on this life journey that you really desire for this year, 2019. So one of the things that I found to be most effective in creating our goals is visualizing and allowing ourselves to feel it in our body. So rather than just saying it, like really feeling it and embodying the entire feeling on every cell in our body. This is so transformational. It's like, for example, think about gratitude, right? Like we can say, oh, I'm thankful for my family. But if you close your eyes and really allow you to experience the joy that your family brings to you, that's a whole nother level of experiencing gratitude. So this invitation right now is to allow yourself to experience yourself living as if your goals for this year have already been manifested and what it feels like so that you know that it's real. So an important part of making sure that we are being mindful of creating the goals that we want for ourselves is not only to connect with it, but also to reflect on it. And so one of the things that I do with my private coaching clients and in my own life is journal. And sometimes it only takes a few minutes, just kind of journaling what it is. So putting it on paper is like a first step of putting it into action. So really considering, what is it that I want? What does it feel like? Who's there? Where do I live? And just writing it down and taking that first action step. And to really get clear on what it is that we want, one of the things that is really helpful is allowing it to be from a place of our core values. So core values are those things that really light us up, the things that just make us so happy in life. Like, it's not even questionable what's important to us. And so those can be things like community or health, fun, authenticity, integrity. That it can show up as many, many different things, and it's going to be different for all of us. But when we can create our goals from a place of what's really true to us, what we really value, it just sets the intention for just being our true self, and it makes it more desirable. So I invite you to consider a goal that you have for yourself. Is it in alignment with what's really important to you? And are you living in those core values? For example, if you have a goal of losing weight, then we want to look at your core values and what's important to you. Is your health or nutrition important to you? Because fitness is another way to weight loss too, but I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that if you eat healthy, you don't have to work out as hard because your body knows what to do to keep you at a healthy body weight. So this is an example of, are we really living, like we may want to lose the weight, but are we really living in alignment with making the choices that are going to get us there? Are we choosing healthy foods? Are we eating mindfully? Have we figured out what foods work for us? Have we decided to commit to healthier choices? And so once you create a goal for yourself that is living in alignment with your core values, remember those things that matter to you most. And I recommend finding 3 to 5 core values that are really important to you. So those things that are just really light you up. I'd like you to consider your why. So why is this particular goal important to you? Why is now the right time? Is it the right time? And consider what is motivating you to achieve your goal in this year. So consider the why, consider the what's motivating you. And as you visualize your dreams and your goals for 2019, I invite you to think about setting an anchor in your current life. Who's going to support you? So who's going to support you to getting from where you are to where you want to be? It could be a loved one, it could be a spouse, it could be a friend, it could be a coach, it could be a mentor, it could be a teacher. Who's going to help you and support you? And maybe the support just shows up as somebody witnessing you. Maybe it's just somebody walking by your side, witnessing you, supporting you with positive affirmations and acknowledgement. It could be somebody leading and guiding and supporting you as a coach or a mentor. But who is going to support you? And then I also invite you to think about who's not going to support you. Is there anything standing in the way of you getting from where you are to where you want to be to achieve those goals in 2019? And this is really important. This is not always the easiest step. It's always usually a little bit easier to think about, right, who's going to be my supportive team to get me to where I want to go? Sometimes it takes a little bit more reflection to notice, are there relationships in my life that are not really supporting me or not serving me? Is there anything standing in the way of me achieving my goals? And these can often show up as limiting beliefs or fears or blocks that we simply just can't see that can prevent us from getting where we are to where we want to be. We may have the belief that we have limited resources such as time or money or support. And so as we consider that, it's something to do a little bit more deeper work in and just notice, how is that really showing up for us? Because we all have the same amount of time during the day. And the resource of money is really one of a choice. So one of my financial coach friends mentioned, if you want to see what your core values are, take a look at your credit card bill and you'll see what you're spending your money on. And I can tell you right now that a very large portion of my credit card bill goes to my local health food store, because that is my core value, is nourishing my body in a healthy way. So for some of you, it might be fitness or travel. So, really just considering where your resources are going and are they in alignment with your core values. So if travel and adventure is one of your core values, then it might be likely that a large portion of your paycheck is going to an account to go on that special trip. But really get clear on what's standing in the way of you achieving your goals. Can you really be honest with yourself? And by the way, if you need support in this, one of the things that I am really just love doing is I do have a transformation roadmap session that gets really clear on what those blocks are. And you can check that out on my website. Within 60 minutes, we will have figured out what that is for you. And we will create a roadmap to create those inspired action steps so that we are taking those fears and those blocks and using them to empower us to create change. Because actually those things that show up are really powerful, and it's a really great bridge to bridge the gap between where we are and where we want to go. And I'll be sharing more about that in a couple of weeks. So also noticing, are there any triggers that might come up for you as you think about what goals you want to create for yourself? So just thinking about things that are standing in the way, and the triggers would be, how do you feel about that? How do you feel about, maybe your boss at work not allowing you to leave early so that you can get to your workout class? Or maybe there's someone in your life who comments on, the way that you look or you feel or the choices that you're making that doesn't really feel good. So what are the triggers that show up in your body? And triggers we usually feel in our bodies, like it stimulates something that doesn't usually feel good. So getting really clear on answering all of these questions and creating a goal from your core values, the things that are most important to you, is a really great way to create some goals that are easily achievable because this is what you desire. So I really invite you to do that, and I'd love to hear what you come up with. And then lastly, I'm going to share one of the most important aspects of setting a goal, which is to create those goals and those dreams that you have for yourself. Figure out the why and the what and the who, what's standing in the way, and get really clear. And then once you do that, you create some action steps to get there. This is a really great place to find some support, maybe an accountability partner, maybe a friend, or maybe you use an app on your phone. Maybe you get a coach for that. But then, are you ready for this? Once you set the goal, I invite you to take those steps and then release the attachment to the outcome. I know, it sounds hard, especially for you overachievers, high performers. And here's why we do this, because when we can let go of the judgments and expectations that we place on ourselves, we can still keep ourselves accountable through our action steps. We come to it from a place of compassion, which really lets go of the overwhelm. What I have found over the years, and most of the clients I work with are women, is that we are so hard on ourselves. So I invite you to create these goals from a place of compassion and make them realistic. And I've really found that the reason that many of us don't get started is because we're afraid to fail. But if we don't have that expectation or judgment in the first place, if we just really give it up to grace, like really just decide we're going to trust, we're going to believe in ourselves, we're going to create the goal, we're going to set some action steps, and we're going to do those. We're just not going to get caught up in our head. We're not going to get caught up in our emotion. We're just going to do what we say we're going to do. We're going to make sure that it's really clear and important to us. It's in alignment with our core values. We're going to get out of our own way. We're going to release the attachment to the outcome. Because what happens most of the time is that our expectation or our outcome is actually limiting us. Because most of the time what happens is that what we are capable of is far more than we've given ourselves credit for. So I invite you to consider that for a moment. And if you want to have fun with this, create a vision board. You can create a vision board with magazine pictures and your goals and your dreams, or you can do it through a photo collage on your phone. And some more helpful steps that are going to help you to achieve your goals for this year is just to get really clear when you're creating those action steps on your time management. So one of the things that I do with my private coaching clients is we go through and we create really healthy boundaries in all areas of our life, actually, that are serving us in our highest intention. And we do a brain dump exercise where we just let go of those things that aren't serving us, that are kind of creating clutter in our mind, maybe telling us that we can't do something because we don't have the time, where we really need to step back and say, well, what is really important to me? I'm going to go after the things that are actually my core values that are important to me. I'm going to do those first rather than checking my email and my Facebook and, going out to happy hour with acquaintances that are really not healthy relationships for me. So I'm just going to invite you to consider all of that and how you choose to use your time. And there will be a podcast on that in the next coming weeks too, on healthy time management, creating healthy boundaries, and the brain dump exercise, which is a really great way to create more space for the things that matter in your life. So thank you for joining me today. I hope that I've given you some wonderful tips in creating and manifesting your 2019 goals and dreams. And I would love to hear what you're manifesting for yourself this year. You can join our Facebook community, the Holistic with the W, Holistic Healthy Lifestyle Community. You can join in there and share there or send me a message. And I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for joining, and have a wonderful day, a wonderful week, and sending lots of love for a fantastic, healthy, and happy 2019. Join me next week with guest speakers and experts, yoga and meditation teachers, co-authors of the book Everything Matters, my dear friends and teachers Dennis and Kathy Lang, on the topic Everything Matters. See you next week. Hello, friends, and thank you so much for joining me today and being a part of this community. I know there are many other podcasts that you could be tuning into, and I am deeply honored that you chose to listen in and be present with me today. I love and cherish and appreciate you, and I want to invite you to join our tribe and Facebook group under jenmons.com/connect. I would also love to gift you your guide to discovering and overcoming the self-limiting beliefs standing in the way of you living in optimal health, more energy, fulfillment, and self-confidence to create an embodied, healthy, whole you. You can find this at jenmons.com/tribe. I also have one small request to help spread the love. In order for this podcast to show up in the feed of social media platforms of other like-minded people, we need reviews. So please head on over to jenmons.com/podcast to leave a review. You will also find other inspiring episodes on that page. So I personally read these reviews weekly and would love to give you a shout out and share your kind words with our listeners. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook as Jen Mons or the Holistic Coach with the W Holistic and Jen Mons, JenMons.com. Thank you so much and have an amazing day. Aloha.